We are staying sharp today, right on a pickleball and or a tennis court. So whether you love tennis or whether you love pickleball, let's talk about a few things that you can do to not only warm up, but also make sure that your body stays happy. First things first that I hear a lot with whether you play pickleball or tennis is lower back stuff and rotation for the spine. So first and foremost, just take a generous wide stance. We're going to take a nice forward fold, grab your elbows, and you're going to swing from left to right. This allows the lower back to loosen up, and you're kind of just allowing the hamstrings, the calves, and you're just swinging from left to right. Allow those hamstrings and the lower back to loosen up. Then you can come here and take a little bit of a spinal twist, a little rotation, a little rotation. Make sure that your knees are not overly buckling out. Again, from the side, forward fold, a little hang, and just a swing from left to right. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Allowing the lower back to loosen up. All right, so of course the ankle mobility, right? So let's just take 10 internal. We're going to go up and down 5 times, strengthening the calves, working through the foot. Inhale, lift and lower the heels. Exhale, just allowing the feet and the ankles to warm up, right? You'll be internally rotating, you'll be externally rotating, you'll be sidestepping. So you just want to make sure that your ankles, your feet, your calves are all ready for it. So of course the calves, right? You can lengthen and stretch the gastrocnemius and the soleus in the calf. So you're just totally lengthening forward, holding through the back of this calf. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Hold, hold, hold. And then turn the other way. Heel down. Stretch through that Achilles, stretch through the calf. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Okay, little hip flexor, front of the hip. So you'll take this generous lunge here. This is the hip that we're trying to lengthen. Arm up, lengthen up and over. This is your hip flexor for the front of the hip. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Up and over. Same thing other side. So essentially we're trying to get your anterior chain and your posterior chain. So right now we're trying to get just the anterior, the front of that hip flexor. Here's some side flexion for that oblique, for that side lateral. Okay, of course your hamstring, right? So getting more Achilles, getting more calf, getting more hamstring. Right now we're in parallel. Externally rotate that hip, forward fold. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Same thing other leg. Parallel first, hamstring. Of course, if you want to come down to the ground and do any of this, you can by coming down to your knees and extending this leg forward. All right, so if you don't have all these props, you can use them in the future. We're going to talk about your shins at the moment. So I want you to put your shins on top of the foam roller, and you're just trying to lift yourself up a little and down a little, feeling through the shins of the front of that leg, right? Giving the shins some love. Inhale, lift up a little, lower down a little. Working through those shins. Okay, next, a little thoracic extension, because again, spine, take this up and over, lengthen, so you're opening your anterior chain, right? Your chest and your pecs, trying to create some length here first, because you will be using both your chest and pec muscles in addition to your rotators, your deltoids, your rear deltoids. If you can, roll up the spine a little, round your spine. The hands are heavy in the head, so rolling to that lower back a little bit, rolling up through that thoracic spine. And again, finding that sweet spot where you perhaps need to open up one more time by that bra strap, row strap. Try to take that up and over, getting some thoracic extension, especially if you've been sitting. All right, moving on, be careful on this next one. Figure 4. So I'm trying to get into this SI joint and this glute med a little bit. So I'm gonna lean in the direction of the leg that I have crossed over. This is my SI joint, my sacroiliac joint in my hip, my piriformis muscle in my hip, and I'm just trying to decompress that hip a little bit. Okay, same thing other side. Cross, lean into that butt cheek, lift up a little bit, and roll through that SI joint, roll through that piriformis. Breathe, breathe, breathe. If you need to get some of more of your glute med, you can stack right here, and you can internally rotate, you can externally rotate, getting through the side of that hip. Your IT band, of course, very important area to try to get through. So you can roll down through that IT band as well. I'm just trying to give you some ideas in the event you don't know how to use these foam rollers, especially when it comes to tennis and or pickleball, right? Loosening up that hip, loosening up that gluteus medius muscle, that upper hip. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about a little spinal rotation, right? One more thing, let me back up a little bit. Your lat. So I'm gonna sit my bum down on the ground here, right here. So you do use this lat muscle, your latissimus dorsi. So I want you to try to roll that lat. So internal, and then roll back into your spine. If you need to move this arm around a little bit, right? You might feel some catching in that lat muscle if you haven't used it, whether you're playing tennis or pickleball, right? So be mindful that you're getting in through that lat muscle. Let's do the same thing. Again, if you have time to do your IT band, I didn't do it today, but absolutely stack your hips like this and get your IT band in on both sides, okay? So I'm gonna go to the other lat. I don't want this video to be too especially long. It's more like you had an extra 20 minutes of warm up before you start playing. Maybe there's a foam roller at your facility and you can kind of just loosen everything up before you really start warming up to play, right? So again, I'm rolling the lat, and now the opposite arm, roll forward a bit. You can go up an inch, down an inch, but you're literally move this arm a touch, just trying to get into that lat muscle. Okay, if you don't have shoes on yet, right? Tennis balls are great for your feet. So let's go ahead and step on a tennis ball, and you will ultimately try to step into that foot, right? If you hadn't put your shoes on yet and you want to get some movement through the ball of the foot, the inner arch, maybe you have plantar fasciitis, maybe you have heel spurs and you're just feeling a lot of pain in your foot, right here, right? I'm massaging through my inner arch, the outer arch, and I'm just trying to get some positive feedback through that foot, right? This is especially if you have heel spurs and plantar fasciitis, especially, right? Just that fascia in the foot is mad and you're trying to get some sense of relief before you play. I would also do this after you play. Tennis balls are definitely more forgiving than, let's say, lacrosse balls, baseballs, and golf balls. So I would start with this, okay? Before you go to something more dense and something more aggressive. But last but not least, one more time, lower back, wide stance, grab those elbows and just swing and twist, right? Because tennis, pickleball, you are twisting. Inhale, allow that lower back to loosen up. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, and roll up. All right, so this was just a quickie, hoping to get you a little more loose before your game. Stay sharp, keep the body healthy, keep the body happy, and do your myofascial release and your stretches before and after games.